everyone, my name is Africa. I'm an occupational therapist and a yoga teacher. I challenge you guys to try some of these exercises on your next 1 hour mark. When I talk about repetitive stress injuries, I'm talking about movements that we do all day, usually for work. So those movements can look like sitting at a table and typing, using a mouse for hours. There's a lot of movements that we do over and over all day for our jobs. And the main one for most people is computer use. So, some fun facts about repetitive stress injuries. There are over 1 million repetitive stress injuries recorded per year. Over 1/3 of all office workers will have a repetitive stress injury at some point. So that probably does, somewhat allude to the fact that so many people are hurting themselves. And it's really hard sometimes, I think, to remember to move your body, especially when you're doing work and you're really focused. You don't notice how much your tendons and your muscles have to move as you type. You don't realize how compressed the nerves get. So let's talk about two of the main kind of syndromes that we see. So one of the main ones is carpal tunnel. Lots of people, especially as we get older, and women especially, can get carpal tunnel because we have, small wrists, and there are so many things that have to run through the wrist to get to the fingers, including all of our tendons, our muscles, our nerves. Our nerves are constantly gliding through this very small, compact space. And once we have our hands in this kind of motion, we're compressing everything within that area. So if you're like this and you're compressing for like 6 hours, right? What happens is a lot of inflammation, pain, soreness, tingling, numbness. That median nerve comes through, and usually you have the 2 fingers and the thumb that become tingly and numb. The other one is, we kind of call it tennis elbow. It's kind of like this motion here. But there are a lot of different movements that require you to do this. So we're thinking about if we're using a mouse for many hours, or we're doing anything where we're kind of making this motion constantly. So the ulnar nerve comes through here, right? And it goes through the elbow. And if we're constantly compressing the elbow and, flexing it and moving it repetitively, what happens is all of these structures have to go through this tunnel right here in the elbow, and then it gets compressed. So you get all this weakness and pain in the elbow area. You get that numbness in the pinky and in the ring finger, and it just comes all through here. So we're talking about stiffness, inflammation, weakness, pins and needles, and numbness. Those are, I think, the 5 main symptoms of when you know something's going on with your body, right? So with that said, I want to show you guys some things that you can do to kind of prevent that from happening, or at least alleviate some of that pain. The first thing I would definitely say, we hear this all the time, especially if we are coders or people who work on the computer a lot. You just have to take the stretch breaks at the top of the hour, right? So those stretch breaks don't have to be anything crazy. They could literally be just like taking your arm out like this, bringing it above your head, maybe clasping it this way, bringing it above your head, maybe give yourself a side stretch this way and a side stretch this way, right? And you don't even have to get out of your chair, although I do recommend you at least do that. So even if we're, at the 30-minute mark, we're just taking, we're taking our hands, bringing it to the knee, taking our hand to the back of the chair, and trying to give ourselves a stretch, to the knee, to the back of the chair, give ourselves a stretch. The idea is that we are kind of constantly moving our bodies out of these, these slumped kind of postures. So when we're thinking about these slumped postures at the desk, what happens is the shoulders come in, all of this gets really tight, right? and we're kind of stuck in this motion, right? And our backs, if you're looking at my back, our backs are kind of curving naturally because we're dumping all the weight forward, we're bringing those shoulders in. So you'll end up with like a lot of stiffness here and a lot of pain. So thinking about that, the motions that we want to do are going to be to open up the chest, to drop the shoulders, and to bring the neck up, and then bring the spine up with it. So some of the cues that you can give yourself as you're at a desk, or even standing at a desk if you have a standing desk, which I love. That's like my favorite thing ever, and my first recommendation for people would be get a standing desk because it just makes all the difference. It's way easier to move around, etc. But that's another conversation. But when we think about the way that our body is moving, these anti-gravity kind of positions where we're just dumping our body, we just want to give ourselves these constant cues to bring the shoulder blades back and cup them back, right? Bring the shoulders away from the ears, right? And then as if a string is pulling our neck up, we're pulling our body up, right? So this is a great position to be in, and will also, at least open up the chest so that you can breathe better, so that you can move better, and so that you're not having all this pain of your body just going in on itself. So that's number one. Number two would be making sure your feet are flat on the floor at all times. That your elbow is at a 90-degree angle. Your wrist and your elbow are at the same level when you're using anything on the desk is very important. And the last one would be at the hip area. You usually want your hips to be at a 90-degree angle. And something else that is really good, if you can kind of do it in seated, is if you kind of tilt back a little bit, right? If you tilt your chair back just a little bit so you're not just dumping down into yourself, this motion brings the shoulders back a little bit, just a little tiny bit, right? So if you have your chair and you're setting it up, just a little tiny bit, bring back the shoulders, have that arm out, right? Upright is good too, just make sure you're not leaning forward, because that is the opposite of what we want going on there. Okay, now that we have all of that kind of as our baseline of logic and understanding of where we need our body to be, let's talk about the actual exercises that you can do on your stretch breaks. Okay, so I'll just run you through a few of my favorite ones. So I already showed you the first one that I love well, can't say that I love it the most, but it's the easiest to me to do in chair without moving. You're seated. So clasping the hands together, bringing it out this way, okay? And you can hold this position, take a deep breath in, and then let it go. Inhale, bring it up. Exhale, drop the shoulders. Inhale, bring it over to the right. Exhale, bring it back to the center. Inhale, bring it over to the left. Exhale, bring it back to the center. And then you're gonna wanna bring the hands down. So if you're in your chair, I would just wrap your arms around the back of the chair if you can. And if you are taking your break seated the way that I am, take your hands back behind you to open up the chest, hand, and then bring it back, okay? Easy. Do that maybe 2 times, and there goes your stretch break, okay? The next one that I like to do a lot is arms clasp at the elbows like this, okay? So we're doing the same thing. We're just opening up the chest, and then we're gonna tilt it over this way. Deep breath in and out. Take another deep breath here, in and out, because it just feels so good. And then come back to the center and repeat on the other side. Deep breath in and out. Another deep breath in and out. Back to the center. Excellent. Go ahead and shake your hands out. Give yourself some shoulder wiggles in each direction. Excellent. So here goes another one. Cross the arms, Clasp the hands if you can. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. Go ahead and take the other way. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. Excellent. Okay. Go ahead and wrap your arms in, bring them out into a cactus, and then bring them out the other way. And then out into cactus, okay? And then drop the hands. So the next one you can do seated or on the floor is bringing the hand up, looking up at the fingertips, the thumb, and then bring the hand over, really opening up that side, okay? And then just sweep it down. Inhale, bring that hand up, stare up at that thumb, bring it over the head, deep breath, and down. Excellent. All right, so I'm gonna give you guys a couple more. All right, so you saw this one a little bit earlier. We're just gonna take the hand to the knee and bring the arm back. Take a deep breath here and let it go. Come back over, wrap the hand, bring the hand back. Deep breath in and out. While those are not all of the exercises you can do, they are the main ones that I believe will be the most helpful when you just need a quick stretch break. I challenge you guys to try some of these exercises on your next 1 hour mark when you're working, especially for my coders. I know we get kind of, very laser mind focused. I think even me myself, I am really bad at stopping myself and giving myself a break. And because of that, I have carpal tunnel, so don't be like me. I hope that you guys enjoyed the video and that it was helpful. And I will be back with more. But until then, I hope everyone has a beautiful day.